Your phone rings at 4:47 in the morning, and the man on the other end says 4 words that erase the smile off your face before your feet even hit the floor. The bank is calling. Not a text, not an email. A call at that hour, which in this business only means one thing. Someone with more power than you just decided your empire is a liability. You built a $500 million commercial real estate portfolio. Office towers, industrial parks, apartment complexes stretched across 3 states. And right now, in this moment, none of it feels like yours. This is level 7. But to understand why a $500 million man can still be terrified of a phone call, we need to go back to level 1, back when your entire empire fit inside a used Honda Civic with 200,000 miles on it. There are 7 levels between that Civic and tonight. Less than 4% of people who start at level 1 ever reach level 4. Keep that number in your head because by the end of this you will understand exactly what it costs to be in the other 96% who never do. Level 1. Leasing agent. You are 22 years old, base salary $38,000 a year, and your real income depends entirely on whether strangers pick up the phone. You make 200 cold calls a day from a cubicle the size of a closet, pitching office space to businesses that mostly hang up before you finish your first sentence. You still live with your parents because the math does not work any other way. Your manager, a broker named Ellis who has been in the business 20 years, watches you get rejected for the 40th time that morning and says the sentence that will define the next decade of your life. You get paid when the ink dries, kid. Not before, not for effort, for ink. You nod like you understand, but you do not yet. Not really. You think this is a grind you will push through. You do not know yet that this business does not reward effort. It rewards survival, and most people do not survive the first 18 months. Level 2. Junior commercial broker. You are 25 now, and you finally closed something real. A 10-year office lease worth $200,000 in commission, split with the senior broker who let you shadow the deal. Your income jumps to $75,000 for the year, and for the first time you believe the civic days are behind you. But the cost shows up fast. You miss your best friend's wedding because the tenant wanted to walk the space on that exact Saturday, and there is no version of this business where you say no to a walkthrough. Your girlfriend of 4 years leaves that winter, and when you try to explain, she says the only thing that matters. You keep telling me the deal comes first. I believed you the first 10 times. Ellis, watching you take the breakup in stride within 48 hours, tells you something colder than comfort. The office doesn't care about your girlfriend. It cares about your pipeline. Learn that now. It gets more expensive to learn it later. Level 3. Senior broker, 29 years old, closing roughly $40 million in transactions a year, personal income now $220,000. You have a title, a corner desk, a reputation. You also have chest pains you have been ignoring for 6 months because scheduling a doctor's appointment means losing a half day you do not have. When you finally go, sitting in a paper gown at 29 years old, the doctor does not sugarcoat it. Your heart is fine. Your cortisol levels are not. This is what 40 looks like on a stress test, and you're 29. You laugh it off in the room and cry about it alone in the parking garage, because some part of you already knows this is the entry fee, not the exception. Above you, brokers doing real acquisition deals are making numbers you cannot picture yet. You start asking how people get from renting other people's buildings to owning them. Level 4. Acquisitions associate at a private equity real estate fund. 33 years old, total compensation, $450,000 a year. You are no longer leasing space. You are underwriting entire buildings, deciding which properties the fund buys and which it walks away from. The number attached to your work stops making sense in a human context. On a Tuesday afternoon, you underwrite an $82 million industrial portfolio before lunch. Your managing director, a woman named Priya, who has survived 3 market crashes, watches you finish the model and says something that will sit with you for years. You just evaluated a building today worth more than your father's entire life savings, times 40. Try not to get used to that number, because the moment you do, you'll stop respecting it. You nod, but the truth is, you already feel the shift. Your parents ask when you're coming home for Sunday dinner, and you realize you cannot remember the last one you actually attended. Here is the part nobody tells you before you start climbing. Every level up is not a promotion, it's a trade. And if you're the type of person who watches these breakdowns start to finish, hit subscribe, because the next level costs more than money, and you'll want to see exactly what it takes. Level 5. Vice President of Acquisitions. 38 years old, personally responsible for $300 million in fund assets. Your own net worth sitting around $1.8 million on paper, most of it tied up in deferred carry. You can't touch for years. You are, by every external measure, successful. You are also still an employee. Someone else's name is on the fund. Someone else makes the final call, and you have 2 young kids who are starting to notice you're rarely in the room even when you're physically home. Your wife brings it up on a Sunday you actually made it to, quietly, not as an accusation, but as a fact laid on the table. You keep saying 2 more years. You said that 3 years ago. You don't have a defense, because she's right, and because the fund just offered you a path to your own carry stake if you stay another cycle, and you already know what your answer is going to be before you say it out loud. Level 6. Managing Principal, founding partner of your own fund. 45 years old, $85 million in assets under management that you actually control, personal net worth around $12 million. This is the level where people on the outside assume you've made it, and structurally, you have. But the price of controlling capital is guaranteeing it. Your lawyer slides a document across the table before you close on a $40 million acquisition loan and says the sentence that defines this entire level of the game. You understand that you are personally guaranteeing this. If the property defaults and the bank can't recover the full balance from the asset, they come after you. Your house, your accounts, everything outside the fund structure. You sign it anyway, because everyone at this level signs it, because the alternative is staying small forever, and small was never the plan. You tell yourself the market will hold. You tell yourself that a lot, over the next 7 years. Level 7, founder and chief executive. 52 years old, a portfolio spanning office towers, industrial parks, and multi-family communities across 3 states, valued at $500 million. From the outside, this is the finish line, the empire, the thing the 22-year-old in the Civic couldn't even imagine. From the inside, at 4:47 in the morning, it is a voice on the phone reminding you that 40% of your portfolio's debt matures in the next 14 months, that interest rates have moved against you, that the refinancing terms your bank is offering now would erase $200 million of equity on paper overnight. You built this, and in this moment, you own almost none of it outright. What you actually own is the risk. Here is the recontextualization, the thing nobody tells you at level 1 or 2 or even 5. At $500 million, you are not the top of this pyramid. You never were. The actual owners of most of your empire are the banks, the insurance companies, the pension funds who hold the debt on every one of your buildings. You operate the empire. They own the risk and the upside underneath it. That phone call at 4:47 in the morning was not a crisis someone created to hurt you. It was the natural ceiling of leverage finally introducing itself. The same way it introduces itself to every operator who ever crossed $100 million in assets. The broker in the cubicle at 22 thinks the ceiling is his manager. The founder at 52 learns the ceiling is Wall Street itself, and it does not care how many levels you climbed to get here. It only cares whether the loan gets paid on time. So you take the call. You negotiate the extension, you pledge more collateral, you survive level 7 the same way you survived every level before it, by absorbing a cost nobody sees on the outside. Your heart rate, your marriage, your Sunday dinners. 30 years compressed into 11 and a half words a lender says on a Tuesday morning. We need to talk about your maturity schedule. You built an empire. The empire also built you into someone who cannot sleep through the night anymore. Not really. Not since level 3. And that trade never gets reversed no matter how many zeros you add. Next episode, we're going inside a different empire, the one built on other people's money in a much faster room, Wall Street. POV, you start as a 22-year-old investment banking analyst working 100-hour weeks for $85,000 a year, and we take you level by level to managing director. The year your bonus alone crosses 7 figures, and your family stops recognizing the person cashing that check. Tell me in the comments which level in tonight's story would have broken you first, the Civic at 22 or the phone call at 52.